Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, everybody. This is Abu Rasheed with you on the Arabic Quran YouTube channel. In this particular episode, I'm going to be discussing verse number 17 from Surah Mariam, or the chapter of Mary. And in the first episode, I had discussed verse number 16, where Mary, or Mariam alayhi salam, peace be upon her, secluded herself from her family, and I explained what the reason for that was, and it was in a place east of Jerusalem. It could be a place or an actual edifice, like a temple. It doesn't specifically say, but most likely was a temple because of what's going to be coming in this verse. What step did she take here? And in the following verse, which we'll discuss in the next episode, we will discuss what her response was based on what happens in this verse. All right, so there's three things happening in this verse, which it's a short verse, but it's packed with three things going on, and that's what we're going to talk about here. All right, now as far as the color coding goes, it reflects the Arabic parts of speech, and I had explained that in the first episode, so I'm not going to go through that here. You should watch the first episode anyways before watching this one. All right, let's get started. So we start off with a particle here. The particle is fa. This is another particle of resumption, but this one is more intimately tied with the flow of the subject matter than wa is. Wa we had in the previous verse, but here we have fa, and we would not translate fa here as and. We would translate it as so, or like then, but there's a difference between fa and thumma, which I'm not going to get into here. But fa has more immediacy. So fa, we would say so. And then the verb is ittahadat. Fattahadat. The letter ta here is what we call the letter ta'u ta'nith, or letter of feminization. Okay? And the reason it is here is because, again, we are talking about Mary, peace be upon her. So the verse ittahadat means she took recourse to. Okay? She took recourse to. What did she take recourse to? فَاتَّخَذَتْ min, from. Dun means like apart, and them. Okay? So min is from, dun is apart, and him is them. But remember, if you've seen any of my other videos, when you're translating from one language to another, you have to go through two levels of translation, because the first is word for word, and I'd mentioned that syntactically there are differences between languages, so you can't settle just on the word for word translation. You have to translate the meaning. So you could take this word for word and say, apart from them. Okay? That would be our, apart from them would be our sentence level translation rather than the word for word. Okay? All right, so she took she took recourse apart from them, meaning her family and anyone else around her, right? She's already secluded herself. But for further seclusion, look what she's doing. She's taking a hijab. A hijab, and this term has become very popular in the West. Hijab, for example, there's many meanings for the word hijab. One of the meanings is, for example, what Muslim women are ordered to wear, right? The hijab, which covers the head and everything except the face. Now, of course, and then there's the other opinion where the hijab is actually also covering the face except the eyes. That's also called niqab. Two forms of hijab. That's something Muslim women are ordered to wear. Also, hijab could be, for example, a barrier. Like, for example, on the Day of Judgment, Allah says, وَبَيْنَهُمَا hijab. Between the two, there is a hijab, a barrier. Between which two? The two being referred to are the believers and the disbelievers. There will be an impenetrable barrier between the two. Okay, so that's a hijab. There's many uses of the word hijab. Here, the hijab is more like a screen, okay? Like a screen. It is a barrier, and what it most likely was is a curtain. What it most likely was is a curtain, because that was actually a common practice amongst people at that time. At the time of the people of Mary, they would put like a curtain for extra privacy when they're praying. Okay, very interesting. So she's doing that here. She's putting up a screen. She's putting up a curtain, most likely, for extra focus and, the ability to focus and concentrate on worship. Okay, now she's behind the screen. She's behind the barrier now. All right, that's the first thing that happens in this verse. What's the second thing that happens? Now God is sending somebody. Okay, let's look at this. So this fa, by the way, is again so. Okay, it's a continuation, al-isti'naf, the resumption here. And it has more immediacy than the particle, for example, in Arabic, thumma, because thumma has more delay built into it. But as soon as she engaged in worship behind this curtain, Allah says, God says, فَأَرْسَلْنَا. Now the verb arsalna means we sent. We sent. Now, the we, sometimes this kind of throws off non-Muslims. They say your religion talks about one God, so why is this we here? This is the majestic use of the we. It's like, for example, when kings speak. This does not mean that Allah is plural, because obviously that would contradict the Islamic creed. In many parts of the Quran, it talks about the oneness of God. So we're not talking about we here in terms of there's a plurality of gods. There's only one God. And here it is just being mentioned from a majestic perspective. We sent. Okay? Anytime God is mentioned from an essence perspective or the being, it's always in the singular form. Okay? So arsala yursilu is the verb. Fa'arsalna, so we sent. Now here's the preposition ila. When ila forms with ha, it becomes ilayha. So this here is to, preposition to, her. Okay. Now this pronoun ha here is referring to Mary. Okay, it's referring to Mary alayha salam. And for those of you who don't know Arabic or who are not Muslim, when I put as in the brackets like that, it's the transliteration of alayha salam, which means peace be upon her. We put that as respect for Mary. Okay, we don't. It's not respectful just to write Mary. We have to write Mary. It's better to write Mary, peace be upon her, or you'll see, for example, English, PBUH, peace be upon her. Okay. All right. So just a little note there. All right. So Allah is saying we sent to her. What did Allah send to her? It comes here. Ruhana. Ruhana. The ruh here means spirit, but what it's referring to is the archangel. Archangel. And I'm running out of room here, so I'm going to put it here. Jibril. Now, Jibril is nothing else except the Arabic for Gabriel. Okay, Jibril is the Arabic for Gabriel. Okay, and he is the spirit, i.e., the archangel. Okay, the archangel who's been commissioned with this task of going to Mary. The na here, this is a pronoun. Na is our. Okay, our. So Allah is saying our spirit, meaning the one, he belongs to Allah. He's being sent by Allah. So Jibril or Gabriel, the archangel, is being sent to Mary. Okay, here comes fa again. Fa again means so. So we have three so's here, right? So he's now not going to come in the form of an angel, because an angel, according to Islamic belief, is part of the unseen. So he's not going to appear in the form of an angel. So there's something happens before she sees this, right? So the verb here is tamathala. Tamathala means to take the form of, to be represented in. Okay, to take a different figure or different representation. So here we can just say was transformed into. Okay, فتمثل لها. And this goes back, actually I'll just draw an arrow here. This pronoun here goes back to Mary, and the la is for, basically meaning, before her. Okay, so فتمثل لها. So the ruh, or the archangel Jibril, was transformed before her, before he saw her, into a human being, meaning a man at this point, right? It was a man. And before I finish the verse, this is amazing. Why? Because you got to understand the reputation and the stature and the position of Mary. She's a very devout person. She's very obedient to her Lord. And to the extent she didn't even stay and pray where she was with her family, she actually secluded herself, as we discussed in the first verse. She secluded herself, and she then even put a curtain. So can you imagine that one secluding him or herself, putting up a curtain, and then seeing someone from the opposite gender appear? This is what's happening. She is a female, and a pious, devout, righteous female. And she has secluded herself, put up a curtain, and has engaged in intense, focused worship. And here comes a man. This is something amazing. So a man appears in front of her, okay? And the adjective here that God used is sawiya. And we can say sawiya is like well proportioned, and I'll explain that in a second. Okay, well proportioned, good. It also could mean good character, because he's well balanced, good character, well proportioned. All of these apply, and it also means that there was no trace of him being an angel. Okay, he was a human being and a man in all respects, appearing in front of her. And that, my dear friends, brothers and sisters, is what's happened so far. She secluded herself. She has taken a screen. God has sent a man, sent an angel in the form of a man. And now we're going to see what her response was in the next verse. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you for joining me. May Allah bless you. Have a good day. And I hope you benefited from this. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and forward this to your friends, family, acquaintances, and all your community members throughout the world. This is Abu Rasheed signing off. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.